register to speak in advance of the start of the meeting. When you are called upon to speak, please state your name, spell your last name for the record. I ask that those that are waiting to speak virtually to remain on the platform until you are called upon to speak. After a speaker's time is up, they may continue to follow the meeting at one of the broadcast options mentioned previously. For the sake of fairness and to give everyone a chance to speak, the chair reserves the right to limit the length of time allowed to any one speaker. Written testimony will be accepted for transmittal to the board. Send this testimony to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53201, or fax to 414-475-8071, or email it to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us. Just a reminder, Robert Rules of Order dictates that all comments should be directed to the chair of the committee. Also, any questions or requests, including those from the public, committee members, or the administration, are to be directed towards the chair, who will determine the best efficient way to address them. For the safety of all and to ensure the good order of the meeting, harassment, intimidation tactics of any kind will not be tolerated. Anyone who engages in such harassing or intimidating words or actions will immediately be asked to cease. If such behavior continues, a recess will be called, and the offending parties will be removed from the meeting before the meeting resumes. Anyone ejected from the meeting may continue to listen to the meeting or access the agenda items online. However, he or she will not be allowed to rejoin the meeting. Also, no one other than members of the board, the staff of the superintendent's office, the Office of Board Governance, and the Office of Accountability and Efficiency, and those who have been invited to present or participate on items of business will be allowed on stage before, during, or after meetings of the board and its committees. Do any members of the public wish to make any comments?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do have individuals on our virtual platform prepared to speak tonight, as well as members who are in our audience. Would you like to begin with the virtual testimony?
Yes, let's begin virtual.
Individuals in the auditorium to speak tonight.
Thank you to everyone who joined us and via their words online, and I am waiting for the list of folks that have joined us in person. All right. First off, we have Mr. Larry Hoffman.
Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Larry Hoffman, Hoffman. It's good to see and address the board members in person, and it's good to hear when good strategies are working. In addition to being a member of MICA's Education Task Force, I am a mentor for several young men from the African American community in Milwaukee. In doing so, I'm often in contact with their family members and friends. I won't name names, but I was in the home of one of the boys last week, where I was told that two of the other boys present in the room had recently been suspended from their high school and sent to other high schools. When I asked their mother how their restorative circles had gone, she didn't know what I was talking about. I explained, and she still didn't know. From the numbers shown in the presentation given a few minutes ago, it doesn't seem like the restorative justice process has been used in very many instances to avoid suspensions. Something like 54 restorative processes versus almost 1,800 suspensions. So, I would ask board members, how is restorative justice going in your schools? Is it making a positive difference in the relationships and understandings in your buildings? Is it happening at a pace that is satisfactory to you? Is it happening at all? If it is lacking, is there anything you can do and will do to make it happen so that people accept it as a new and better paradigm to change the way teachers, administrators, parents, and students perceive discipline? Or will you let it fade out as has happened in the past? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Next up, we have Ms. Angela Harris.
Took us a break, but we back now. Angela Harris, Harris, abolitionist educator and chairwoman of the Black Educators Caucus. You know, I have like these prepared comments that I made, but I was looking at that data and I was saying to myself, like, how do y'all come to this meeting every month and not feel a deep sense of shame when you look at the disproportionality? But not just a deep sense of shame, a deep sense of urgency and wanting to improve the disproportionality in our district. But I digress. So the January monthly disproportionality report that we just saw indicated all of these proactive supports, which I love. I think that they're great. But it also showed that, yet again, Black students represent 81% of the suspensions, meaning they are 27 times, more likely to be suspended than their white counterparts. I believe that these data points are symptoms of an alienating school culture, begetting an unsafe environment that does not affirm our students' identities or their sense of belonging, thus resulting in their disengagement and causing behavior issues. I would also argue that it may be time for us to reframe this idea on school safety and begin to think about our school's overall health. And I would ask you today, district administration and board members, what do you think? How healthy do you think our schools are? What about the staff and students in schools like mine that are historically excluded and underrepresented and have high needs? How do you think the staff in our buildings feel about the health and safety of our schools, or even our capacity to create health and safety welcoming environments for our students? A healthy and supportive school environment helps students develop the skills that they need to recognize, manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, and appreciate the perspective of others. I think that we need to have a meeting, a public hearing, where we address the school culture, climate, and safety in Milwaukee Public Schools. This is an urgent need, and we need to do it now.
Thank you. Next, we have Devon Mays.
Devon Mays, legal spelling VANMAYES. I would like to echo what was just said, the safety symposium or conversation that was suggested as, to my understanding, the last one happened in 2012. In particular, students and staff should be prioritized on their thoughts and feelings on safety and practices. I say this because I have gone to a number of schools in some of you guys' districts where the students have complained about safety concerns. They have literally had protests outside of their buildings under the threat of suspension, under the threat of not being able to walk across the stage, all of these different things about safety. I was also extremely concerned to hear what happened to our sister Angela as a Black educator, and that there are no real mandates or policies set to address outside risks or dangers such as assaults on staff and students from people outside of the school. I also want to say that violence-free zones need to be expanded. And official collaborative efforts with community violence prevention efforts need to be prioritized citywide. I say that because I also, as a community activist and as part of Conforce, have been called to multiple schools that have security in place, staff, all of these things. I get called up to these schools to help with critical incidents, potential shootings, potential fights, all of these different things. We get called for that. And we are able to successfully collaborate with contacts that we have in these schools to de-escalate or deter certain things from happening. So that needs to be expanded, because that is not, again, we cannot go back to this whole conversation about restraining our students and putting MPD back in the schools. I don't think that's the way to go. Bullying, also a huge issue. And I've seen many campaigns claiming a zero tolerance, but I, again, get called all the time from parents and students who are getting bullied, and they seem to get in trouble more so than the people who are bullying them when they react to it or try to protect themselves. There needs to be a safe space, after-school space for students to advocate, discuss, and organize around vital issues, incidents. Some schools may have a council, or they can be school ambassadors. But again, if you're talking about prioritize.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. Last, we have Ms. Deborah Keether.
Good evening, Chair Garcia and board members. I am here tonight to speak to this board about the safety in Milwaukee Public Schools, just as everybody before me. And if it has not dawned on you that your perception of what is going on.
I'm sorry. Just for the record, state your name, spell your last name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And begin your testimony.
Okay, Debbie Keether, Kuether.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just backing up, I'll say I'm here on the same reasons everybody else is. And I've noticed that there is a very big disconnect about the way this board thinks they are addressing matters. I believe you think the number of resolutions and things that you put on paper equates to, oh, we're making progress. And everybody on the other side who are actually in the buildings experiencing these things do not have the same feeling you do. There's a huge disconnect. This board has not protected children of Milwaukee. It's very unsafe. When you visit a school, I know oftentimes now you have the team that goes ahead and wallpapers the area and puts everybody in a certain place so that you don't see that. You need to go in and see the day-to-day. Otherwise, it's just a dog and show pony. It's just a show. And this board has the tools of policy and law that you continue to fail to use. I know that firsthand. And oftentimes these are policies that you have written yourself. And you stand here and you protect your own house instead of doing the work that this city is depending on you to do. We are getting injured out here. Your women and children are being injured out here, and it is not safe. Before you write another resolution that's dead on arrival because it doesn't have any action behind it, you should figure out what have you done for a child or a person. Several of you here are sitting right here who have called in. What have you done for those people that are in crisis? You haven't done anything. You've been into executive session and you
Madam Chair?
went offline.
Madam Chair, the 2 minutes of speaking time that we've allowed for every other speaker is up.
Okay, well, hopefully you'll start doing some of the things that you have written in policy, and more so what the state and federal laws require you and your jurisdiction to do.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Keether.
Thank you.
If there's any other portions of words that you ran out of time, please, I ask that you share that and email it to us so that we can all see the rest of your prepared speech. Are all of that was the last speaker?
Madam Chair, you have all of the speaker slips for tonight's meeting, and the virtual testimony has completed. I will also share with the board Ms. Keether's written testimony.
Thank you so much. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask any questions? We'll start off with Director O'Halloran.
Thank you. One comment, I, as a parent, didn't receive the flyer for the community conversations tomorrow. I did see it on social media, but I follow Facebook and stuff, so I don't think I got it, though, from my school. So I think in the past we've sent out text messages. I don't know that I got one this time, but neither here nor there.